My son wants to come home for a visit. I couldn't hide my bewilderment when Jennifer suddenly said this. Just to be sure, I asked Jennifer, come home to visit. Where exactly? And Jennifer answered with a laugh. Here, of course. It seems like Jennifer mistakenly thinks this is her own family home. I thought this might be an opportunity for some payback for the usual bullying. So, I decided to inform her of a certain fact. This is kind of awkward to bring up. But usually when people talk about going home, they mean their own parents' house. This isn't your childhood home, is it? My name is Susan Stevenson. I'm a 42-year-old stay-at-home mom. I got married to my husband, Steven, 5 years ago. Steven is 32, which makes him 10 years younger than me. We met because I used to work at the same place as Steven. When I first became a trainer at work, the new hire at the Steven was Steven. At first, it was just a professional relationship, but eventually, feelings started to develop. Turns out, Steven felt the same way, and we started dating. Then, 5 years ago, I found out I was pregnant with Steven's child. When I told Steven, he immediately proposed, and we decided to tie the knot. It ended up being a shotgun wedding, but I was thrilled to marry Steven. Afterward, I quit my job and our daughter Katie was born. Parenting is no walk in the park, but Steven is super hands-on, and Katie is growing up just fine. We thought we'd continue to live a happy life, just the three of us. But all that changed because of one person. One day, the ring of the telephone sounded with a ding-dong. I thought to myself, oh great, she's back, and felt a sense of dread as I headed to the front door. Standing there was my Jennifer. Well, hello, Susan. Just came by to see how things are going. Upon hearing that, I thought to myself, the last thing I need. I really can't stand my Jennifer. After Jennifer lost her husband 2 years ago, she started visiting us more often. Not that I mind her coming over per se. But, so Susan, are you keeping up with the housework? You're not leaving it all to Steven, I hope. No, we both pitch in and share the responsibilities. Share. Steven has a tough job. Don't burden him with extra chores. Yes. I apologize. You see, Jennifer always finds fault with the way I do housework. We have a system where we both contribute to raising our child and maintaining the home. Steven's good about it, but Jennifer doesn't seem to like our arrangement. Back in the day, people would say a man's place is at work, a woman's place is in the home, and Jennifer fits that mold perfectly. She even complains that Steven shouldn't be doing housework when he's already working hard at his job. And it doesn't stop there. She even starts on our daughter. Are you helping mommy out, Katie? Katie nods, but Jennifer doesn't seem satisfied. You have to answer loudly. Yes, louder. Though she looked uncomfortable, Katie did answer. Jennifer's pressure even extends to Katie. I think Jennifer does want to be friendly, but the fact remains, Katie is scared of her. Jennifer, please stop intimidating Katie. Can't you see she's frightened? Well, if Katie would answer properly, I wouldn't have to correct her. Really, Susan, you're too lax. Are you even properly raising her? It's a real pain dealing with her, especially since she also meddles in how we're raising Katie. These days, Katie comes to me more when Jennifer's around, so I've been sending her to friends' houses to avoid meeting Jennifer. Eventually, Jennifer leaves, seemingly relieved to have aired all her grievances. This has become an almost daily ordeal, and it's wearing on me. That night, I told Steven about Jennifer's visit. I tried to persuade him to do something about his mother, but he defended her. I think you're overreacting. Mom's probably lonely since Dad passed away. The truth is, Steven is a major mama's boy. I knew he was close to his mom before we got married, but it's gotten worse since his dad passed away. When I told him Katie is scared of Jennifer, he wasn't convinced, but said, "I'll think about it." I chose to believe him. But that faith crumbled in the worst possible way. It all happened so suddenly. The doorbell rings as usual with a ding-dong. I sigh, thinking it's probably Jennifer again, and head toward the front door. When I open it, there's Jennifer, holding a bunch of bags and boxes. As I stand there, dumbfounded, Jennifer exclaims, "From today on, I'm living here." I had no idea this was happening. For now, Jennifer starts moving her things to the living room, so I help her carry them in. Jennifer remarks sarcastically, "Oh, you can be considerate, submissive ends." But my mind is filled with questions about why she's decided to move in here. Once all the stuff is in, Jennifer sits down on the sofa like she owns the place. Mill, I didn't know you were moving in," I say cautiously, with a creepy grin. Jennifer replies, "Well, Steven said it was okay for me to live here." "What?" "Steven decided this," Jennifer says. "Steven thought you'd object if he told you, so he said I could just do what I wanted." I couldn't understand why Steven would make this decision without consulting me. So I call Steven during his lunch break. "Hello, Steven, what's going on?" "I had no idea your mom was moving in," Steven responds with evident glee. "Well, Mom was feeling lonely, so I just told her we could live together." "Why would you decide that on your own?" Steven replies. "You'd definitely say no, so I thought it would be okay if I kept it a secret." I still didn't get his reasoning. Seeing my confusion, Steven spoke with full confidence. "Don't worry. I'll make sure Mom doesn't bother you or Katie. Gotta go, bye." And then he hangs up. I couldn't get my thoughts in order at all, already a nuisance as it is. When I thought of Jennifer moving in with us, not only was I worried about how much more melodrama I'd face, but I also got anxious about whether my daughter Katie would be okay. Just then, I heard a voice from the front door yelling, "Mom!" Snapping back to reality, I headed to the door to find Katie coming home from kindergarten. Katie looked at me with concern. "Mom, you okay?" I responded to Katie with a smile. I told Katie that starting today, Jennifer would be living with us. At that, Katie made a face and said, "I don't like Grandma." Hearing Katie's words made me even more anxious about living with Jennifer. Sure enough, the melodrama worsened after Jennifer moved in. She nitpicked my housework, bossed me around, and so on. I tried to endure it, but I felt like breaking down due to the constant criticisms. Even when I consulted Steven about it, he just told me, "You need to be more understanding of Mom's feelings." This had been going on for a month, and I was accumulating fatigue and stress. However, I thought that if I endured it, there might be a slim chance that relations with Jennifer could improve. But finally, an event occurred that pushed my patience to the limit. It happened when Jennifer and Steven had gone out, leaving Katie and me Steven alone. While playing with Katie, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, my father was standing there. "Susan, long Steven no see." "Dad, thanks for coming. Katie is here too. Come on in." I need to say hi to Katie too." My dad, Ken Stevenson, lives in the next town over. My mom passed away a few years ago, and now he lives alone. Dad used to be a carpenter and built all sorts of buildings, from apartment complexes to large condos. He was really hustling back in his prime. He's retired from carpentry now, but he still goes to job sites to give instructions or drop plans. He also lived on site while working at Steven's, so he knows how to handle basic household chores. He helped me out a lot when I was pregnant. He usually couldn't visit us because he was busy on the job site, but today he's here to hang out since work has eased up a bit. Grandpa, how you doing, Katie?" Katie instantly lit up when she saw my dad. Dad absolutely adores Katie, and the feeling is mutual. There was a Steven I had to leave Katie with him when I went to a PTA meeting at her preschool. They went to an arcade and even took some photo booth pictures. When I saw the photos, it was clear they were having a great Steven, with Dad holding Katie and all. I was relieved to see Katie's smiling face after a long Steven, because she got to play with her grandpa. As Dad was playing around with Katie, he checked in on how I'm doing. "How's everything lately?" "Well, it's a bit tough. Mill moved in." "Oh, so Steven's mom is living with you now." "Yay." As I sighed, Dad patted my head. "Sarah, you know you can always come home if things get tough. You're always welcome." I felt like crying at Dad's kindness, but I held back my tears, thinking I have to stay strong in front of Katie. My dad spent playing with Katie while also having some lighthearted conversations with me. During our talk, he mentioned how one of his acquaintances was facing some difficulties, which made me realize there are many people out there who are worse off than me. Before he left, Dad gave Katie a gift. This is a bit early, but here's a pink backpack. What? This is the backpack Katie was really wanting. It's so popular, it's sold out everywhere. The gift my dad gave was a popular backpack, and not just any backpack. This was the pink one that Katie absolutely loves. These pink backpacks are especially in demand and sold out in many places. Naturally, Katie was thrilled. "Grandpa, I love you. Thank you." I felt relieved seeing how happy Katie was. However, something happened that completely ruined this happiness. A week later, when I was returning from shopping, I found a backpack thrown away at the trash station. The color of the backpack was pink. I hesitated, but went over to check it. The name was clearly written on it, and without a doubt, it was my daughter's name. But where did the brand new backpack she had just received go? It was tattered and even looked like it had been cut with scissors at places. I grabbed the backpack and hurried home. "Hey, Mill, I went to see Jennifer." "What now? Can't you even say I'm home?" "I don't care about that right now." "What's this? Why did you do this to Katie's backpack?" Jennifer grinned and said, "A red backpack would have been just fine. I was planning on buying her a new one anyway, so I thought she wouldn't need this one. I lost it at Jennifer. Enough is enough." This was a backpack Katie treasured, but Jennifer just laughed and looked utterly unbothered. "If you had been paying attention, this wouldn't have happened, now would it? Anyway, this backpack is no longer needed." Haha. I was at the end of my rope. It would have been one thing if it were just me, but I couldn't forgive Jennifer for hurting Katie. From that day on, I started thinking about how to get back at Jennifer. Later, I told Steven about how Jennifer had ruined Katie's backpack. Steven looked surprised, but quickly said, "My mom also wanted to give her a new backpack. Anyway, who cares about the color? All backpacks are the same." As expected, Steven defended Jennifer. I couldn't stand Steven either, who turned a blind eye to Jennifer's actions. As I was contemplating the idea of divorce, Steven said something to me. "Hey, I'll be going on a work assignment alone for 3 months. I'm worried. I'll miss being around Mom." Upon hearing Steven's plans for a solo work assignment, a thought came to my mind. This might be the perfect Steven to teach both of them a lesson, I thought, and said to Steven, "Steven, don't worry. Leave your mom to me." "Really? Are you sure?" When I nodded, Steven looked relieved. Looking at him, I couldn't help but think what a simple guy he was. And so, my husband left for his solo work assignment. I had to endure Mill's verbal abuse while waiting for the perfect opportunity to exact my revenge. The chance came a month into my husband's work assignment. We had planned to visit our hometown for a week. This was planned and approved by both Steven and Mill before Steven's solo work assignment was finalized. As my daughter Katie and I were preparing to go, Mill showed up in front of us. I wondered what she wanted, and then Mill made an unexpected proposal. "My son wants to come home." Her sudden statement left me bewildered. To double check, I asked Mill, "Come home? To where?" "Checkling," Mill answered. "Here, of course." It seems that my Mill, Jennifer, mistakenly thinks this is her family home. I thought this might be a good opportunity to give her a taste of her own medicine. So I decided to enlighten her with a fact. "Mill, this is awkward to bring up, but you know people usually go to their own family homes for visits, right? This isn't your family home." Upon hearing that, Jennifer was like, "Huh?" She froze as if time had stopped. I said it again for emphasis. "So, this isn't your family home, Jennifer. This house is mine." Suddenly, her previous confidence seemed to have vanished. Jennifer looked visibly confused and responded, "Wait, what do you mean? Didn't Steven build this house? How could it be yours?" No lies here. I plan on going back to my family home to discuss with my dad what we should do with this house, I replied. With that, I picked up my bags, and my daughter Katie and I left for our family home. We heard Jennifer shouting from behind us, but we ignored it. Upon arriving at my dad's place, I checked my phone and saw missed calls from Jennifer. Ignoring them for the Steven being, I explained the situation to my dad. He was, of course, livid and agreed that we needed to have a serious conversation about it. I then called Steven to ask him to come over and texted Jennifer to come to my family home as well. On the day of the discussion, the doorbell at our family home kept ringing repeatedly. Katie was scared, so I tried to soothe her. I had considered letting her go to a friend's house, but I was too concerned about her emotional state to let her out of my sight. When I opened the door, there was Jennifer, looking furious, and Steven, who looked very Stevened. Jennifer, seeing my face, angrily asked, "What's the meaning of this? Are you really going to tear down that house?" I instantly knew what she meant. After discussing with my dad, we had decided to demolish the house. It was a bold move that would leave Jennifer without a place to live. I considered whether it was too harsh, but given the ongoing mistreatment of my daughter and myself, I felt it was justified. I had hardened my heart to the idea. First things first, I invited the two of them inside. I asked my daughter Katie to go to another room as the adults had some serious matters to discuss. Then my dad and I approached where Jennifer and Steven were standing. I explained our decision to tear down the house. "The house is under my name. I initially wanted it to be under Steven's name, but he couldn't afford the mortgage, so it ended up being mine," I told them. I continued, "That house was supposed to be for our family to live in, but you, Mill, have messed it up. And Steven, you've just turned a blind eye to it all. I don't ever want to go back to that house, so I've decided to have it demolished." At that point, Steven, who had been quiet, spoke up. "Wait, does this mean we're getting divorced?" Steven was surprisingly perceptive, which almost impressed me. I simply nodded and handed him the divorce papers. Steven looked distraught and pleaded, "Hold on a sec. I haven't done anything wrong to you." I sighed at his statement. True, he hadn't done anything for me, but that was precisely the problem. "You've always sided with your mother and never protected me, haven't you?" I said. Steven hesitated. "Well, my dad, who had been silently listening, jumped in. "Steven, we thought you'd protect Susan, but it seems like you're more concerned about your mom. What's up with that?" Steven was left speechless at my dad's words. "I approved of your marriage because I thought you'd take care of Susan, but what a disappointment." Hearing this, Jennifer chuckled. It made me anxious, wondering what she was thinking. "Fine. If that's how you feel, let's get a divorce." Upon hearing Jennifer's words, Steven was visibly flustered. I noticed Jennifer still seemed at ease, So I said to her, if you're gonna divorce, that's fine. But what about the house? It's scheduled for demolition. So where do you plan to live? I'll move back into the condo where I used to live with my late husband. At that moment, Dad shared something with Jennifer. It was something I didn't know either. I happen to know the manager of that condo, and it seems you caused a lot of problems there. According to Dad, the condo where Jennifer and her late husband had lived was a luxury condo. Her late husband had wanted to live in a regular house, but Jennifer insisted on living in the condo. Eventually, he gave in. However, Jennifer had frequently caused issues with the other residents, and her late husband always had to clean up her messes. When her husband passed away, Jennifer started falling behind on rent and was eventually told to vacate the property. After hearing this, a hypothesis formed in my mind. So, did you suddenly decide you wanted to live here because you were kicked out and had nowhere else to go? Hearing my speculation, Jennifer started to get flustered. I realized I had hit the nail on the head. Anyway, you won't be able to live there again, given the amount of trouble you've caused. Jennifer heard this and looked to Stephen for support. Stephen seemed bewildered, not knowing what to do. Then, little Katie, who had been playing in another room, came into ours. Mommy, I want a snack. Then, Katie saw the figures of Jennifer and Stephen. Jennifer kindly spoke to Katie. You wouldn't want to be separated from Grandma, would you? Katie looked at Jennifer and said, I don't like Grandma. I hate her. I know she ruined my backpack. Upon hearing this, Jennifer turned pale. Katie was deeply shocked when her cherished backpack, a gift from her father, had been destroyed by Jennifer. The wound still hadn't healed. Grandma's always mean to Mom too. I can't forgive her for being mean to Mom. Katie was glaring at Jennifer. Jennifer, perhaps deeply shocked by what was said, looked absolutely crushed. Katie then turned to Stephen and said, Dad is always mean to Mom too, right? Hearing those words, Stephen became extremely flustered. That's not true. Dad loves Mom. But Katie cornered Stephen even more. But you are always talking bad about Mom with Grandma. I saw it. And you said there was someone cuter than Mom at your work. Stephen was even more flustered upon hearing Katie's revelations. My father, observing all this, was visibly irritated. It seems there might even be a suspicion of infidelity. Remaining as composed as possible, I asked Stephen, wait a minute, Stephen, are you cheating at work? No, I'm not. I just told Mom that there was a cute girl at work. Sighing, I told Stephen, well, whether you're cheating or not, your mama's boy tendencies have really put me off. The divorce is happening. What? No way. Stephen looked stunned at my words. Finally, Katie had one last thing to say to both of them. If you love Grandma more than Mom, you can just be with her, Dad. But I hate both of you. Never show up in front of Mom, Grandpa, and me ever again. The two people who were completely disliked by Katie were so shocked that they couldn't say anything. I told Stephen to write up the divorce papers right there and then, and he did so without any strength left in him. The two of them left the house in tears. Eventually, Stephen and I got divorced. I naturally gained custody, and I could even demand child support from Stephen. Stephen didn't lose his job over this, but rumors spread at his workplace that he's a mama's boy, making it awkward for him. The two of them are now living in a company dormitory, but it's become awkward there too because his mom is overly protective. It's a toxic environment. It seems like Stephen is planning to kick out his mom soon, but the real reason is unclear. Well, it's none of my business anymore. As for me, I'm living back at my parents' home with my dad and Katie. I also started picking up some part-time work to help pay the bills. Getting back into the work groove is tough, but everyone's been really helpful, and I'm doing my best to reciprocate. I even received reimbursement for the backpack from Mill. And this weekend, we're planning to go shopping for a new one for Katie. After that, we've planned a family outing to eat together. I just want to focus on creating a happy life for my dad and Katie from now on.